luck. With the fate of Chicago schools chiefs still hanging in the balance, Mayor Brandon Johnson's chief of staff is going on the record about the conversations happening behind closed doors at City Hall.
WGN's political reporter Damon Bradley is here with the exclusive sit-down tonight. Damon?
Ray and Micah, good evening. Although the school board appointed by Mayor Brandon Johnson is supposed to carry out his education agenda, his chief of staff told us they weren't doing that. They and the school CEO were charting their own path. Today, Mayor Johnson's chief of staff, Cristina Pacioni-Zayas, invited us to City Hall's 5th floor to, in her words, clear the air. As we sit for this interview, 3 floors down, Pedro Martinez is testifying to City Council. Why does the mayor want him gone?
Well, I think it's more about what does the mayor envision for Chicago Public Schools, right? His vision is based on transformation for the entire system.
Pedro Martinez says the mayor asked him to resign. Do you expect this new board that the mayor appointed will fire Martinez?
I think the new board is going to be steadfast in terms of carrying out the mission and the vision that the mayor has set forth.
Is that firing Martinez?
I think as long as we have that vision in place and we have a sense of urgency in terms of the execution and we do not have cuts to the classroom, that is completely unacceptable and not going to be what we will ever tolerate.
It sounds like you can work with Pedro Martinez going forward. He can keep his job, in other words.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case.
In a series of interviews, CEO Martinez has been telling people that back in April, he asked the mayor to use city TIF funds to pump more money into CPS and that the mayor agreed. But Martinez also says the mayor asked him to take out a short-term, high-interest loan to cover additional spending. Pacioni-Zayas told us there's more to it.
In previous meetings, and even then that one, basically came to the mayor indicating that, you know, the only way to balance is through cuts and furloughs. That obviously is a big, bright red line for the mayor. That is not acceptable. When we are looking at something as big as, you know, a $400 million gap, and the first instinct is to cut, that obviously says that you haven't done the full homework or the full assignment.
But the last school board decided the loan wasn't the way to go, and over the summer, they passed a budget that shifted a $175 million pension payment to the city and did not include spending for a new contract with the Chicago Teachers Union. Why did the mayor's handpicked board approve a budget that didn't include contract for the teacher, contracts for the principals, as well as the pension payment? Like, how and why did that happen?
Wouldn't be able to tell you. I think that's a great question to ask the board. You do have a situation within Chicago Public Schools where you have a general counsel that serves both the board as well as the school district. Sometimes there's inherent conflicts there that I think should be explored. I don't know what type of information they were being provided that helped to inform their decisions.
Was Pedro Martinez influenced? Did he take over the board essentially?
Again, I'm not privy to what his interaction was with the board.
It sounds like the mayor and the board were not on the same page.
I mean, I think it's just a situation where, you know, we were not privy to what the board was being shared, and we had asked CPS to be forthright about the implications.
How does that happen that you're not privy to what information the district is giving the board?
So if the district is meeting with the board independently, we wouldn't know about that unless that is revealed to us.
To regain control of the schools, last week, Mayor Johnson replaced the board with 6 new people, clearing the way for them to consider firing Martinez and act on the loan Johnson wants. Martinez insists more borrowing is a bad idea, and many Chicago leaders side with the CEO in the dispute with the mayor, a former CTU organizer. Enrollment, no doubt, has stabilized at CPS, but the district has lost 81,000 students over the last 11 years. Why aren't you considering right-sizing? Why go the transformation route?
I can tell you that, you know, we know the devastation of when 50 schools were closed across the city. I think people need to understand that schools are anchors for community. When those buildings actually shut down, the disruption that happens there goes well beyond the child, their family, the educators, the community.
CEO Martinez did a series of media interviews last week, but his team told us they didn't have time to sit with us. Today we were provided with a statement saying, in part, under CEO Martinez's leadership to date, CPS has posted consecutive record-breaking 4-year graduation rates. And you can see more of our conversation with the mayor's chief of staff Sunday on WGN TV Political Report.
All right, quite a conversation there. Thank you, Taman.